What's going on, y'all? So, Presonus has released Studio One 3.1 today. It's going to add support for Presonus Studio 192 as well as the new Digimaxes. It's going to add the hardware integration for that. For those who don't have a 192 or Digimax, there's something in it for us too because we get a new feature in the browser section, which I'm about to show you. Before we get into that, it of course addresses some bugs. One bug I noticed that when I would drag a plugin to an event and I would hold hold option to get the add event, it was not there. I reported it to Presonus, and they did, acknowledge it as a bug, and it's now fixed. So glad to see that because that's the easiest way for me to add event effects when I'm working on a mix. But brand new in the browser section, once you load up Studio One 3.1, you'll notice that we have some more options over here now. We've got a settings icon, and we also have favorites and recent. It's really funny to me that Presonus has added this because I was just thinking this the other day. The biggest thing in here to me is that if you click the settings icon, you now have a option to manage plugins, and what that will do. Let's open up my Waves plugins and click this, and you'll see I've got a star, which is for my favorites, and then we've got a just a circle icon, which will allow us to hide the plugin. I completely uninstalled all of the AU plugins that I was not using and put them on a folder on my desktop called unused plugins because a lot of times I install plugins. I'm installing the VST, VST 3.0, and then the AU version, and I don't need all three of those. So all of my plugins are mostly VST3, and then I took off all of the AU. But what you can do now, this adds the functionality to be able to just hide the plugin. So I'm showing my Waves plugins here because the way that Waves presents their plugins, you've got the mono version, mono stereo, and the stereo. What I'm going to do is hide some of the plugins that I don't use, which will still keep them installed. The way that I was doing this before by taking all my AU plugins off or out of Studio One and just keeping them on the desktop and reinstalling them there if I needed to get back to it. Say I pull up a mix that I did 2 years ago and I use the AU version of that plugin, I need to get that back. So with what Presonus has added in 3.1 here, we can now hide the plugins while remaining or leaving them still installed on your computer, on your system. They're just hidden from view, which is, I swear I was thinking of this a couple weeks ago that this would be great because I wanted to do some plugin cleanup anyway, and now I'm able to do it with the click of a button. So as you see, for example, my CLA2A, I got a mono version and a stereo version. I'd honestly never used the stereo version of this plugin, so let's hide it. The same way with the CLA3A, let's hide the stereo. CLA76, I don't use the stereo version of this. So that's just three examples. I've hidden those and unchecked that. And now you'll see that they are no longer in my list. I'm going to eventually go through my whole system and hide the ones that I don't use stereo for. But like I said, they'll remain and be installed. Another thing we have is recent, which I haven't moved anything in this session, but your 10 most recent plugins will show up under this recent. Favorites, I've added a few of my favorite plugins really quickly. So yeah, this having these functions in the browser is going to really help speed up my workflow. I was also thinking that the favorites would be a good idea when I was thinking of the plugin, the hide feature, being able to hide them, because in Pro Tools I liked how you can have your favorite EQ and compressor available to you very quickly with your plugin list. This actually is a little bit better to me because with Pro Tools you just get the EQ and compressor. It's just two. I don't know if they've changed that since the last version of Pro Tools I have, but the favorites, as far as I know, you can save as many as you want in this favorites. Just select the star. but that'll give you a quick access to a certain amount of plugins. Another new feature that Presonus has thrown in here is they've added volume to parallel path on the channel editor. So what that is we go to the channel editor and we add a splitter. We now have the option to control the volume. So a huge shout out to Presonus, because most times when a company updates a product, we get bug fixes and performance enhancements. But it seems like every time we get a new update with Studio One, it comes with some new features. So huge shout out to Presonus for that. But that's the two, I guess I'll say three main new features in Studio One 3.1. You got your integration for the 192 in Digimax, the new browser section in the browser, and we've got volume for the parallel path on the channel editor. All right, I'll catch y'all next time.